Okay, so I'm just going to start by introducing myself, since I'll be off camera. My name is Daniel Escamilla. I'm with the Santa Ana History Room. I'm the archivist here, and this is an oral history on August 31st, 2012. Okay, sir, can you please give us your full name?
Ruben Pimentel,
Ruben? All right, Ruben. Where were you born?
in Santa Ana,
Okay. And what year was that?
on February 25th, 1935.
Okay. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
So my grandfather and grandmother came from Mexico in 1903, which they paid 3 cents to come across the border, and came here and made a ranch, cattle and animals, and they made cheese, Mexican cheese, and they sold to all the barrios in Santa Ana. And then my mother got married, and father, and they too raised cattle and made cheese. And I used to go with my mom to the barrios to sell Mexican cheese on the weekends. And then we moved to Newport Boulevard, and we put a food stand. And my dad used to work in farms, so he used to bring vegetables from the farms and sold them out there. So there was about 13 acres for rent on Newport Boulevard, farther up, and we rented that for about 4 years, I think. And my dad planted the farm, and they put a stand in front of the eucalyptus trees. And from there on, we had both farms, the farm, 48 acre cattle, and the vegetable farm, and the stand. And then did pretty good, so we needed more vegetables, different kinds of fruit. So we started going to the market in Los Angeles. And we go up there and bring and pick some of our vegetables in the farm. But I had to go to the next town, Costa Mesa, to deliver them to another truck, to a friend they had, and they would deliver it to Los Angeles, the vegetables. So we did odd and ends to make it, and we bought from the farmers around vegetables like strawberries, corn, sweet potatoes. From Costa Mesa, they used to plant a lot of sweet potatoes, and used to bring it over to sell it in the stands. And then I got married, and I went to work.
About what year was that? Or how old were you?
I was 8.
1954?
But I had a job when I was 17 and 16, working for a friend, baling straw from lima bean straw. And we worked with their sons. Their 2 sons used to have each one a baler, and we would go with one of them or go with the other one, me and my brother. And then I worked in Huntington Beach with another Greek that had 7 acres. He planted lima beans. He had oil wells. They planted lima beans in between, and work a couple of years there. And then went with another friend. It was a sewer. We done sewer pipes, and we worked in different places in Costa Mesa and what did they call you that? Over there where they make the pictures and
Where?
I'm trying to think of where they make movies?
no, where all the rich people make their art.
Oh, Laguna Beach.
Laguna Beach.
Uh,
Over there I worked doing the sewer lines too, on the rich house. I worked there. I don't know how many months, but I worked there with our friend. And
How old were you when you got married?
Huh?
How old were you when you got married?
19.
19.
19?
It sounds like there was a lot going on farming wise, but could you maybe talk about what that basic day was like? So, like, what would a day in the field look like? Just from
Yeah.
from when you start in the morning or before the morning to the late evening.
What time did your day
He still
start?
has,
and-
yeah, he still holds the same hours.
ingrained.
He still holds the same hours though.
Go ahead.
But that was early in the morning, about 4. We could be 5 at the other ranch to milk the cows, to help milk the cows and feed the calves, and then come home and fix the stand, the vegetables in the stand, and everything looked good. And if we have to go to the market, we go to the market to Los Angeles. Come back and empty the truck and pack all the vegetables that we had in the farm that we had to ship out to Los Angeles. And then about 10 o'clock I would be in Costa Mesa delivering the vegetables so the friend, the trucker, could take them to Los Angeles. Then I would come back home and put 7 barrels in the farm, and then fill it up with water and take it to the other farm for the cattle. So I'd be home about 1 or 1:30 from one day.
So did you ever have any time off to either socialize or relax, or what would you guys do for fun?
Not actually. We would. We had to work. I went to school, but only for different reasons. I went to school. I went to St. Anne's, and I went to St. Joachim,
Okay.
and then I went to Palorino School on Newport Boulevard. We came to St. Anne's because my sister was coming in. They didn't want her to come all by herself. So they put me and my brothers. We would come with her to school, to St. Anne's. In Palorino, I went by myself to Palorino. But St. Joachim, I went because we had to learn to make a confirmation. And we didn't know, we were older. We were 18 already. We had made our confirmation. So the priest told, no, you gotta put them someplace so they can learn, so they can start praying, so they can learn how to make a confirmation. Yeah, that's why there were different schools.
So do you have any memorable days from those schools, or can you talk about what it was like going to those schools?
Yeah, played baseball, played football, basketball. The coaches, they wanted me to go to the games. I couldn't go to all the games, and they wanted me to go all the games. but I couldn't go. He said, "Can we talk to your father?" He said, "No, I don't think so. He wants me in the farm." So then I came from school straight to the farm to pick vegetables to get them ready to ship them out, and pack them, pick them, and we had enough sun in the afternoon to pick, so we didn't have time to do our homework. Just work. Sunday and Saturday, that's all I did, is run down up and down the farm with gunny sacks around my throat, filling them up with corn for the people that came from Laguna Beach and all over to buy corn. And my dad would show me which part of the corn in the field was, this is for the older people, and this is for is more heavier, and this is more. So I knew which part. When you get older people come from Laguna Beach and wanted young corn because they were older. They wanted real young corn, so I know where to pick the corn in the field. So I spend myself Saturday and Sunday. Those were my working straight days.
Wow. About how many people would you have there on in the stand trying to buy corn on a?
Oh, we had about 16 people. It was full, and then when they built the base, we had families from all over that come pick corn. Then we had all the Santa Ana people. They go down to Huntington Beach and to the other places in the beach, and they all go in, especially the Mexican people. They would go in trucks, big trucks, and they stop there to buy corn, to buy grapes, bananas, and everything. So we were busy all the time. That was.
And you said this is the one that was on the Newport Boulevard.
Yeah, the one on Newport Boulevard.
And was there any other cross streets with that too, or is it just kind of a one road?
It's a Newport, and I wonder if that school is still there. The one on Newport. Palorino.
Was on Newport? Was it elementary school?
Elementary.
Okay.
There's a couple of streets there. So we had the farm. There was a dairy across. I think the name of the family that had that dairy there was Augustines. Augustines. They were Greek or what you call it?
Polish?
Armenian?
Maybe?
No, Armenian.
Or Armenian?
No, they're from the old country, but they were there. I forget what their name really was, but my sister is the one that used to talk more with the family.
Well, can you talk about maybe about your siblings a little bit more? You mentioned a sister and a brother.
Yeah, I have 7 altogether. There's
Three boys. You was
Margaret
four?
the first?
Yeah.
Who's the oldest?
Margaret's the first. Oh, go ahead.
Margaret, the first
Daughter.
sister,
Yeah.
and then
You.
my brother,
No, you.
Joe.
No, Joe's after you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe's 1
Yeah.
year younger than I am.
Yeah.
And then there's Mac, and then there's Louie, and then there's Carmen, and Tonya.
Yeah. The youngest one.
They all work in the stand.
So it was definitely a family-run business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
family-run business.
You left off with mentioning that there was people would stop by, the Mexicans would stop by in trucks on the way to the beach. Was that kind of, you said that happened just about every weekend?
Yeah, every weekend.
Where would they be coming from?
From Delhi, from Santa Ana here. They all, because the Newport led to Huntington Beach and to Newport Beach and to the other beaches, so they all travel like in a convoy. So we had people like ants in the stand. Yeah, my father would buy tons of watermelon to put in the sights and cantaloupes, and we had everything. It's a big business. It's a big business. Yeah.
So they bought fruit to take with them to the beach.
Now, you also said that you had, when you were younger, that you used to sell cheese in the barrios around here.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like just doing that?
Well, my mom used to do it.
Ah.
Used to just bring us as a companion. We'd sit in the car, and she would go knock on the doors, and you want cheese? You wanted cheese, or see people out in the street, hanging out in the yards, and cheese. And it was $1 a cheese. Then she had crema with sour cream, Mexican sour cream, and she had what they call it, requesón. It's like it's a cheese. It's a soft cheese to sell. We spent about 4 hours out trying to sell cheese. She did pretty good.
So, what was the area like? Were there a lot of places that were popular hangouts, or was it
just people in their houses? Not a lot of people. Just she knew mostly because she ran the streets. She knew where to stop and where people would buy cheese and.
Right. Well, I guess just fast forwarding a little bit again. You had mentioned that they had more people at the stand once the air base came in. Was this the Santa Ana Army Air Base?
Yeah, because there was more families that came through.
So around when did that happen?
Oh, that was in the 40s. 40s. Yeah.
Before the war, or?
Before the war, when we planted the farm and they were doing that in the meantime, supporting because by the time the farm grew and everything started, then in winter there was no fruit, no vegetables to come from no place else. So the cattle ranch, the making of the cheese and all that filled in that part.
So, what were the main seasons for harvesting and the cows and just everything else?
Well, the summertime. The summertime was mostly the business of the ranch, stand and the vegetable, growing the vegetables, the season, and like I say, the cattle played in between to fill in what we needed. To keep on going. There was before we moved to Newport Boulevard. We had cattle too, but we didn't have no stand. But in those years, you could go pick walnuts from the bottom of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
They'd let you go in to pick walnuts, to pick different things,
Mm-hmm.
and you would, like a lima bean field, after they had cut them and trashed them,
Mm-hmm.
everything, packed them, everything, the fields were clear, and some of the vines were left, and my dad used to we used to pick them all day in gunny sacks, and at the end of the day, when it's a little windy, he would put a tarp, and then he'd lay all the string, lima bean husk in there, and run his car over it. His Model A didn't weigh very much, but he'd go to the top, and then he'd move him out
Mm-hmm.
with his hands, and he'd get the lima beans because they were a little dusty. He'd put them out in the wind like that, and the lima beans would fall, and dust would fly away. And that's our way surviving. Then we would take him to. He would take them to the store and change them for flour or for anything else they needed. He did that thing with walnuts too. We would pick walnuts mostly every day. We would go into the orchards and pick walnuts that are on the ground and bring them home. We'd be until 12 o'clock. I think we were young, little, and they used to crack them, and we used to pull out the little meat of the walnuts, and used to sell them to the bread places where they did bread. They would buy them from him, and it's part of our life
Yeah.
to work out.
So it definitely sounds like it was a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. But were there any times that you guys, that you and your family took to either celebrate holidays or family birthdays, weddings, and special events like that? And like, what does that kind of day look like?
Just on Christmas, they did tamales and celebrated. That was the only holiday I think there was celebrated was Christmas. Probably New Year's too. Just doing buñuelos, candy tortillas.
You didn't celebrate Easter?
Huh?
You didn't celebrate Easter? No?
It was kind of. It wasn't here yet.
Oh.
See, this was outside of the city, the farms. It wasn't. Usually in towns they celebrate Easter or other holidays, but on the farm.
So, really, what I guess. So for Santa Ana at that point, it was really where you were. It was mostly farms, and then the city was kind of off to the
Yeah,
side.
this was just a little. Delhi was just a barrio mexicano, and it's Santa Anita across the Santa Ana River. Farther down, there was a little town, small. It wasn't big yet. Costa Mesa was little, just on that side of the Newport. Just that part was built with houses. And then where they had the high school, well, all of that from there on, part of Costa Mesa, clear out to Huntington Beach, was all lima beans. And from there on, Santa Ana and across the river, that was all lima beans. The Sickerstrans were the brothers who had all of that.
Mostly
They farmed all clear to the mountains. But in the mountains they had more wheat or barley. I noticed that here where we live at Newport, on our side, we had the farm. There was no houses, and there was no houses on the other side from the John Wayne Airport to Newport Boulevard. They used to plant barley and in a school, which they call a Pauline school that was there on Newport. All the back was hay, oats and hay, everything was planted.
It seems like it was a sleepy town maybe before the war, but then more people started coming once the air base was here. Do you remember kind of those days leading up to the United States being involved in World War II?
Yeah, we had the cornfield popped up with anti-aircraft guns in the field. In the corners, in the corn, they built anti-aircraft guns in there.
So was it just so that they could hide? They could totally hide the guns in there?
They thought they were going to come. Japanese were coming because they said that one had crossed already. It was landed someplace. For more protection, they built on the farms where they could hide the guns. We had a lot of airplanes, P-38s, all kinds of airplanes. P-38s were mostly, at that time, for war, I guess, but a lot of them fell and crashed. I remember looking up like that. All of a sudden, you see one coming down. One landed on the field, and the part of the ranch of somebody else had piles of hay. And the one that was going to crash where me and my brother was kind of went over like that and hit the land and went across. You could see the bale, that hay going up into the sky. He landed up on the other side of the street, about a mile and a half. He crashed into some fellow that had an orchard of apricots and ruined 3 or 4 of his trees. But they didn't die. They were lucky. They held up. But the airplane was torn apart.
I was going to ask him, did you notice when the war started that a lot more people started coming to Santa Ana? That it wasn't so much farming anymore? People were building houses or moving into Santa Ana?
Not yet. Not actually. This was in the after 45, I think, 1945. That's when people started coming in. Because the base, when the war ended, the base closed down, and people bought the houses from the air base to bring them to different places. They used to lift them up and carry them out. They sold the houses. The base was getting clear of all the houses after the army, and that's why they told my dad and grandfather, mother, when the war stops, they said, if you want your ranches back, you can call but they figured it was too hard to. They had already settled over there, and it'd be too hard to ask. But they had to go to Los Angeles and see papers and everything. So they figured out that they would stay where they were. But
And that ranch was, which one was that they let go? Where was that at?
over there and on Harbor and I forget what the street was.
So, do you remember where you were when you first found out that the United States was attacked? Do you remember that moment?
I think we were in the second house that we moved. No, it's the first house. Because there's when what they call them? When you had to put your lights out when
Oh, the air raids.
air raid. We lived in that house, in the first house, in the ranch. So it was in between there in the 40s. Then we moved out to the other place when they did the base and everything. I actually don't know where I was, but we heard about it and we were waiting to see what happened to the city, you know.
What college is that? Where they still have Grandpa's piece of land?
Orange Coast College,
Orange Coast College.
you
They
know
still
where
have
it is?
Yeah.
We had our ranch on the west side from that college, where the college plants farms
Yeah,
in there.
They farm it.
Oh.
My dad and mom dug a well there. My dad dug a well, and my mom threw the sand and dirt out with a bucket, giving them. The neighbor did the windmills, and he put a windmill in there for them.
Is that still there?
Yeah, not the windmill, but the land. It's right there on this side of the college. It's right there where the one street goes through, and you can see the land, and they still use it to plant. But it's funny that they left it open for that. But they told my grandfather if he wanted to reclaim it, but I think he felt it would be too hard to reclaim it because they already built the college and everything. So, but it's still there. I remember stopping there just to go see it. And who was it that I told?
Because I didn't come back. I had never come back to see where I used to go, and it's been since 1952, 1953, and I got married and I left here.
Okay, so let's talk about that then. When you got married, where did you go, and kind of what did you do in that next step in your life?
After we got married, well, first I worked in for that Greek fellow in the Lima Bean Field, and then worked in packing sweet potatoes from a friend to a neighbor that was from the house. He used to have a farm here. He bought some land near the Santa Ana River on the east side, and he built him a home, and he planted lima beans too, but that year they planted sweet potatoes, and I went to see him. He gave me a job of packing sweet potatoes, only a couple of months there, and then went to do a sewer line with that other friend that we had. And then I went to Torrance, and fun to work. My sister-in-law's worked at a heel factory, and she said they need somebody, and so I went over there. From there, they moved to El Monte, so I moved to El Monte, that's where I live. And I used to do cement and work like that with my foundations with my father-in-law on Saturdays and Sundays. I keep on the job.
So, when do you think your longest break from not working was?
When I was sick, I guess.
Yeah.
What happened to him when he got sick?
His leg. It got too much arthritis, and they had to take an inch off his leg.
First, I
Oh yeah.
developed rheumatic fever,
Yeah, rheumatic fever.
1963,
Yeah.
and I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks at home, and that rheumatic fever really took something on me. But I went to work. I just said, no, I'm not going to stay home. I went to work, and then this one, I twisted my ankle in Gardena in the work factory, and from there on, doctors, when I was in El Monte, they took, in the 70s, I broke my ankle again, and it didn't heal, and said, we got another surgery, so they opened 7 inches on my foot like that, and took the bones out, and cleaned them, and put them back with screws, and then took them out, the screws, and it didn't work that way, so I said, no, you can't leave me that way. So I went and told them, you got to do something else. So they said, we got something else. We can fuse your bone, your ankle. Well, I'll sign for it. You have to sign for it. We can't do it just like that. You have to sign for it. And you can't. I was falling all the time. There was no strength on my knee. My bone would hang, and I would fall and fall. No, go ahead. And it helped for me to walk, but my ankle, it's completely destroyed. They can't do nothing about it. I had arthritis and the rheumatic fever that hit me, ruined the tendons and everything. So I just aspirin, and keep on going.
I remember seeing him came back home from the hospital. He had these big old halos around his bottom leg, and it's like, and these big old screws going into his bones. It's like, doesn't that hurt? And then the doctor told him that he has to stick it in ice water and then boiling water. And I couldn't get over that. It's like, how in the heck can you do that? He goes, it feels good because it calms down the pain. And it's like, boiling water? I even touched it. I said, no way. That's too hot. And then in ice water? It's like, wow, what a torture. It's amazing.
So, when you were in El Monte, was that anywhere different from living in Santa Ana in Orange County, or was it kind of been like another part of home, just another part of life?
There was more buildings. El Monte's a place where there's warehouses, places more to work and everything. No, here it was more peaceful in the farm. So you had nobody around. You had it's just it's different.
And around what year did you leave for El Monte?
Oh, let's see. Oh, about 65. 65. Because I came from Torrance, I traveled 4 years to El Monte to the job. Before, put 16 years of work on that business that they had.
Was women's shoes or women's heels?
Yeah, women's heels.
Women's heels that you worked on?
Yeah, I did
Shoes.
for the best of my 6 years. I worked doing special heels, different molds, making with a sander
Oh.
to send them to New York because they had a brother in New York. They had a business too of heels, so the boss gave me the job of doing the specials to send back to New York.
It's pretty cool. Now, I heard that your wedding, when it occurred, it was in the Delhi area. Can you talk maybe a little bit more about that day?
That's where we got married, but reception was here at the hall on the main street.
Do you remember which hall?
No, it's coming from over there. It's on the left side. It's a big building there. We had over 300 people. People from the city. They were walking through. My dad said, "Let them come in." So we had more than 300 people coming in to eat.
How big was the bull?
We killed a 1,000-pound bull.
How do you? Where did you find the bull? Was it just?
Yeah, we had it at the house, and it was a big one. And a friend of ours did the barbecue. I did the whole. I did it in my grandma's farm, the 48 acres. Man, that was hard. I could have given up any time. I would stick the pick in there, and only a little piece of it would come out. My uncle said, felt sorry for me because his house was there. My grandmother, one day he was all by himself. He looked through the window. He was about 52 years old. He says, "Can I help you?" And he started. This is not for me.
Were you trying to dig a pit for the bull?
Yeah,
Oh.
it was
They had
5 by 6. I had to dig it.
How long did it take you?
Oh, it took me 4 days. And part of the nights digging that thing. It was the worst thing in my life I ever done.
Yeah, but you said a lot of people from town came in. So were there all sorts of different guests, like different races, groups, or is it a lot of like kind of like?
Well, they just came in. I don't know. They just walked in. So
They smelled the beef cooking, and they were all attracted like bees. And my grandfather said, "Let them come. There's plenty of food."
There's enough beef.
Yeah.
I was gonna. I didn't get to write down. One of his uncles was one of the tallest men in Santa Ana.
Yes.
There was
Or
two men.
Two men.
Two men.
One white man, I think.
And go ahead. What were their names? Was it Vincent or Vince?
My uncle,
Your uncle. was one
Vincent
of
Melgoza. But the other one, I don't know his name.
Oh, you don't know his name?
He was a friend of his,
Uh-huh.
but he was. I actually think he was a little bit bigger than he was.
Yeah.
I
But they were
remember.
known.
I remember where he used to come into town on Main and one of the streets. A policeman. In the old days, there was no stoplights or nothing like that. and there was a policeman standing in the corner. And my uncle used to drive his roaster, and he'd take the seat off of it because he couldn't fit in the car. And he would sit. So this white fellow, for some reason, he bumped him when he came to the stop. And the white fellow came out, and he was ready to fight him, and he was angry. And my uncle stood up on the car, and the cop was just laughing. The old guy just probably turned white and left.
Yeah. But there was different stories from my uncles and aunts. Some people say he was 7 foot, and the last one I talked to was to my oldest aunt. She said he was 7'2", that she had it marked down that he was 7'2". So he was a big man, 350 pounds, big man. So
He used to be a friend of the highway patrol and the policeman. They used to go to the back bay in Costa Mesa because he used to do wheelies with his roaster. He used to do 8s in the back wheel with a car, and they would all go back there to see him race the car and everything. The policeman of the town. There was one policeman, an old fellow. He used to even stop there by the stand, and I guess he remembered my uncle. He was an old fellow, and they all knew him. He was a mechanic.
Where would they race at?
There was a base up there. There was nobody, and there was blacktop. And they would go up there and race and play around as friends.
Near what street? Do you remember what street, maybe?
No, the only place I know that now they race was here at John Wayne Airport.
Oh.
When I was young, I could see all the cars, racing cars, come to that street where the farm was, up to get to the street there that goes to the base, to the airport. And beautiful cars they used to build. Those V8 engines, sometimes 4, 3, and odd cars they would build. They would come from harbor. I think they would come from different places, but that's the street they would get to come to the base to play.
So before the freeways came in, what were the main roads that you would use to get around to LA and Southern California before the freeways?
Newport and Newport used to go clear across to the orange orchards and everything, and go clear to the beach. This is where we get to different places. Then they harbor from Costa Mesa, clear up the other way. That's the only place. Not a lot of roads like there is now, or kitty corner things, and like it was just streets. And the old Santa Ana Road that come across the field to get to town, to get to Costa Mesa, you would follow just a couple of roads.
No.
They did Bristol. They finished Bristol in the 40s, I think, or in the 50s. Finished Bristol. They went through our cattle ranch. Yeah.
Were the trolleys ever really? Did you ever get the chance to use the red trolleys or the Pacific Electric Trail, Pacific Electric cars?
I mean, just here. in town where they used to be the trolleys and the ones in Huntington Beach, the one that went across. They had them along the beach, the trolleys, but they all stopped. Didn't have them no more.
You had mentioned off camera that sometimes Walt Disney would visit and he had a plan for local trolleys, or that sometimes he would visit around with different farmers.
Yeah, they would visit the farmers and talk of what it was. They had to. He wanted to put a trolley on the harbor. And my dad and mom thought that was good, but it didn't pass, I guess, or because I was about 6 miles from Disneyland to the stand. But at that time, I didn't. I got married in that time, which I bought that place in the harbor and put the stand there. And lived, I think it's 3 months on the house that we're putting down, then the farm there on the harbor.
But he would talk to all the farmers. Walt Disney would come and talk to the farmers.
Yeah, what I heard is the people talking about they would talk to the farmers, and I guess because too the food they needed for Disney, especially did the motel and Disneyland.
I was wondering, could you maybe talk a little bit about what it was like as far as either race relations or growing up Hispanic, Mexican, or Latino in Orange County during when you were young, and maybe how things have either changed or stayed the same?
See, like I was going on a farm, I didn't know too much about the city people living in the city. What I know was that there was a lot of discrimination about Mexican people and American people. And it was hard to say things. My dad said, the family said, be quiet, don't talk, because it can get you into trouble, because people are thinking this and thinking that. And it's better to keep quiet. If you see something, don't say it, because you don't actually know really the truth, what's happening, and you can get into trouble because you said something that you weren't supposed to say. And it was kind of hard in a way. If you wanted to talk, you had to think first before you talk, and who you talk to, because in that time they say they had a lot of spies protecting the United States, and there's a lot of people from other nations that want to destroy the people and this and that. So we kept on our own. We worked in the farm and did our thing, and
so did you ever witness any incidences that made the issue very real, or anything that happened in your life that you saw that you're like, oh wow?
yeah, once I seen somebody bury somebody. I don't know if what it was, the person or something, in a Newport in the back in the river. Some guys came in a Chevrolet, I think it's a coupe, and it stopped on the top like that, and two of them got down with shovels and carrying somebody in a blanket, and one of them stayed up on the bridge to look out. But in the meantime, I was stuck in a pipe. I couldn't move back or forward. So the government put a pipe for the water to go down into the river. So I used to like to see the crawdads because you used to catch them and sell them at the stand to the people that go fishing on Saturday and Sunday. They give us $1 for it if we get some crawdads in a bucket. So that day, I was there by myself, and I said, I wanted to look, and said, oh, I can get to that pipe. And they put some pipe in like that, so the water would drop, and that was closer to the top, so the water was going by. So that day, I thought of crawling in and getting it. I thought about it, can I go back and crawl back, or do I have to hang out in the pipe? And I said to myself, well, I'll try it. And at that time, when I looked out, I seen those people. I said, oh no, I'm caught in I can't go backwards or forwards. You know, how long are they going to stay there? But they finished their work and they left. I crawled backwards on that thing.
Did you tell anyone that day, or just?
No, I didn't tell nobody. We'll pray for that fellow or whatever it was who died. If he died of sickness or whatever it happened, he died. And they'll find him because it's to clean the river of the tulies. A lot of times they get crowded and they get hung up with the water and everything, and the trash that comes from town, from Santa Ana. So they'll probably find him when they put that steam shovel and shovel it out. They'll probably find him. And no, I didn't tell nobody.
And the Pachucos, you were
Oh,
just
yeah.
mentioning?
Huh?
With
You-
the soldiers.
The Pachucos, you said that those are like the gang guys?
Yeah, here in town, they would hang out on one side of the street and the other street with forks and rakes, and they said we're going to fight the sailors would stand on the other side of the road. And they would say sometimes when they go over there, there's going to be a fight in Santa Ana in the corner of so and so or in the street.
Did that ever happen? Was there ever an actual a fight that broke out, or was it just threatened?
Two or three times there was some skirmish. A lot of them died in the corners. A lot of fights with the Pachucos and the other gangs but I didn't ever come to see it or attend to it. Only they say they found so many dead here, and a couple of persons dead over here in the corner.
What were the other gangs at that time, besides the the Pachuco gangs that were there?
Here, there was some in Costa Mesa, but mostly here in Santa Ana is where they most talk about people who be. It's about the people.
So, looking back, do you have a really happy memory that you'd want to share, or something that you miss now that you're like, well, I want to talk about this for a little bit?
I think my life has been okay. I like whatever happened, and went through it and enjoyed it. Yeah. Worked in the farm a lot. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it.
You should see his yard. It'll tell you he enjoyed it.
A mini paradise.
Yes.
Plants, fruits, vegetables, and every day he's out there. Still to this day, every day, no matter what the weather is like,
Yeah.
he's out there gardening and maintaining his
But-
yard.
The main thing was my mom had asthma, but she would like to go to the park, but she can only stay so long because it would get cool and the fresh air would make her sick. So he wanted to build her a park. So he made the front yard look like a park. She can go out there, go inside the house. You know, he made it look beautiful. I couldn't get over it. It's like he's maintained it, and ever since I was little, it's
Yeah.
been nice.
I like it. Even in the farms here, I would have my own farm.
Yeah. Oh
On
yeah.
that side of the reservoir where you get the water from the pump to put on the ranch. On the side I planted lettuce, I planted different things.
Even at the house, he planted sweet potato, and there he is with a pitchfork. And I'm thinking, what are you doing with a pitchfork? I gotta pull these potatoes out. It's like, wow, sweet potato. Unfortunately, the land doesn't allow them to grow nice, you know, because it's like tight dirt, and it costs money to, you know, put more vitamins and all that. But, you know, he does what he can, and they come out.
And then having lived such a harsh life as
He
a
still
farmer,
did it, yeah.
he has a passion for it
Yeah.
and a
Oh,
love
yeah.
for it. You know, so it's still that's his life, his gardening. And
His plants are like
farming.
his little animals. You know,
I
he loves his plants.
love to do that.
He likes taking care of things.
It comes out of my
Yeah.
seeds. I grow seeds.
Yeah.
I said people say that fruit trees don't produce fruit if they're not grafted.
No, I even was told that they said that fruit trees don't give if you don't give them 30 feet apart. And he don't have that. He has them right next door to each other. And they give persimmons, they give, you know, and it's like, that's not true. You know, either that.
That's what my granddaughter says.
Yeah.
Because I gave her some apple trees and she planted some apple trees from seed.
Uh-huh.
And she says, Grandpa, did you say that the trees would give? I said, yep, they would give. The man came over and told me, you're just working your life out.
Yeah.
It's not going to give you fruit. And she's enjoying her fruit from her trees.
Yeah,
Look at the
yeah.
trees are producing fruit.
The only one thing.
This is how can people say that? Yeah, because a lot of trees don't.
Yeah.
A lot of trees don't produce. So it's because there's something wrong in the tree, and it's not producing. But they're mostly all of them produce.
But the only one I think he was real sad is that I bought him a mamey. He goes, oh, I gotta plant these seeds. And he got a little tree. And he goes, oh, it's gonna grow. And unfortunately, I think they destroy the seeds because they don't want nobody planting them. But it only grows so big. And then he was sad. He goes, Eddie, the tree died. I go, oh, that's too bad.
When you bought the other two
Yeah.
seeds,
Uh-huh.
I have the two trees.
Oh, two more
One's
trees?
7 feet tall,
Really?
and the other one's little,
Yeah.
but it's in the
And
backyard.
all organic.
Oh,
No
yeah.
fertilizers, no
Nothing.
chemicals, nothing. All
Yep.
organic.
He'll go to the trees and pull off the bugs and crush them with his fingers. And it's like, how do you do that? That's crazy. I couldn't smash a bug. But it's the enemy of the tree, so.
Well, that's it. If there's anything else you want to add, you didn't go over, or anything that you would want to, leave for future generations, or for any kids or people watching this video.
That's about it.
Tell the kids to plant. Don't go to the store, plant.
Don't give up.
Yeah. I'd never seen anybody grow a lot in such a small yard. You know, for some reason, everybody says he's got green arms. There's no green thumbs, there's green arms. You know, but he has such a passion for planting, and the plants love him back. You know, he shows them love and they love him back. And I think that's mainly what it is. You know, he takes care of them like they're his kids, and they give back. You know, and my niece, she's all in love with how Grandpa can grow things. So she's got the ability to do it too. She's growing watermelons, and it's like, but they have good land because they live in Ontario. So my dad goes, oh, they got the good sand land where the dirt is not so hard.
Where the grape,
Yeah,
where they used to have the vineyards.
yeah, it's all fertilized.
All that's fertilized. It's
Yeah.
sandy ground. It's soft ground.
Yeah.
So, do you start with, I guess, what are the best places to like plant over here for people in Orange County, or is it mostly okay just anywhere you can plant in Orange?
Yeah, mostly here in Orange County, you can plant. The ground is good. The ground is
Fertile.
fertile. It's yeah, it's good. Our vine and all that land, Costa Mesa. I remember World War II when the Japanese used to say, Japan to patron, Japanese to patron. We used to have friends that had a stand there in Costa Mesa, and a big one. So they went back to Japan because they thought Japan was going to beat the United States and be
Yeah.
boss. They didn't know the boss they were going to be now. They were
Yeah.
going to take this long. Now they have all the Chinese, Japanese, Orientals. They're all here taking over, and it's now theirs. Now to patron, yeah, but at their time, they thought Japan was going to win the war, so they all left. The ones that had time to take off or had to go back home, well, the other ones they put in camps here in the United States. But they gave us I think 10 acres of tomatoes they had in the back bay. They gave my dad the plant. They rented the place, but when they went back to Japan, they gave my dad the tomato farm. So we picked it for Hunt's factory. The can, Hunt's tomato. And we picked it when after so many months. My dad would take out the water to the back bay in a 5-gallon can, and we would carry it, and my mom would empty it in each plant. We worked days and days and days.